All right, mic check. Testing. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the class. We've got Alex here today. We got a couple more guys that are probably rolling in a little bit late, but we can go ahead and get things kicked off and get them started. Ben, what's going on? Aaron, what's going on? Bashar, what's going on, man? So, yeah, we've got Alex from Playing with Fire. I'm going to go ahead and get the recording started here. So we'll go ahead and kick it off. But yeah, just a quick introduction for Alex. So this guy has been in the game for quite a long time. Obviously, he's got a YouTube channel that's pretty substantial, over 200,000 followers. And, for me personally, he's famous for the one-liner, "Shut up and kiss me." So I'll always give him credit for that one. And yeah, I'm going to turn it over to you, Alex. I know we got a few more guys that are going to be trickling in. I'm going to just let them in as we go, but we can go ahead and kick it off and get started, man. Yeah, I think your mic is on mute. There we go.
Sorry, I'm a noob to Google Meets. But I was saying most people know me for the line, "Hey, trouble." So that's interesting. I got another claim to fame. That's good to hear. Or the "if you're too nervous, I'd understand." That one also is a common one. But yeah, good to be here. I'm excited to share with you guys some good advice. We're going to talk about, I got this epic fucking presentation, so it's going to be awesome. There's going to be photos, text, screenshots, everything. So we're going to go over basically everything related to online dating. So this is going to be like me taking my whole system, like all the 7 years of videos I have, and just condensing it to like 1 hour of information. Obviously, there's still a lot more to it, but I think you're going to get a lot of really good info here. Just so I can get a very rough idea, who here is familiar with me? And yeah, if you could just quickly say, or if you're not familiar with me, let's do it this way. If you're not familiar with me, just give me like a quick 1-2, so I'm kind of have a better idea of the audience.
Yeah, man, I'm familiar with you.
Cool.
Yeah, your stuff works just different age group. I'm an older guy,
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, we actually have quite a few older guys in the mastermind. We got one guy who's nearing his 60s. So, but yeah, we can definitely talk about that during the Q&A portion.
Yeah. The women think I'm a little too immature when I use the exact same tactics,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Let's talk about that during the Q&A. Let me go through the just like the material, and then I'll talk about the modifications you might want to make if you're in the older category. But yeah,
thanks, buddy.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah, well, he's nearing his 60s. I'm 78.
Oh, you are? Shit, really?
No.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
But anyway, I'm sorry. I'll give you back the mic, bud.
Oh, you're good, buddy. All right, you know what? Let's just jump into it. We got limited time, so we gotta make the best use of it. If you're not familiar with me before, you'll be familiar with me after this. All right, so let's share my screen. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, can everyone see the screen clearly?
Looks good. No, I can see it.
All right, awesome. All right, so here's a lovely photo of me back when I had better hair. Let's get into it. So the goals. So we're gonna go through and just basically just go through the misconceptions that exist around online dating, and there's a lot of them. And then also I'm gonna give you guys, like I said, a very solid framework that you can use like today, literally tonight, to start meeting more girls from online dating. Why you should give a shit and even bother with online dating. For better or for worse, it's the way of the future. I mean, that sentence just kind of sums it up. And honestly, it's just a really good way to meet girls that's very efficient if, and there's a big if you're doing it correctly. So online dating can either be super efficient or it can be completely inefficient, and that just all depends on the strategy you're utilizing, just like with most things in life. So here are just 4 misconceptions that I hear about online dating. Number 1, it's not real game. This is a particularly stupid one. Real game, all it means at its core is like your strategies and your ability to meet girls, get laid, get girlfriends, stuff like that. So it doesn't really matter. Like, let's say you meet your future girlfriend that you want up marrying from online dating. Like, is the fact that you met her from a dating app going to somehow like cheapen the relationship or something? I don't think so. And also, I think that online dating is very synergistic with other things like cold approach and like Instagram and stuff like that. So it all works together to kind of give you like that wholesome boost. It doesn't work for someone like blah blah blah, and people have their like list of excuses. Whatever category you are in, I guarantee you, I have had a client or probably multiple clients who fit in that category who've done well. I mean, I've never had like a 3-foot dwarf who had like his like fucking hand chopped off. So maybe that could be like the one exception. But generally speaking, it works for everyone. Indian guys, short guys, taller guys. It's just that you need to make certain adjustments if, for example, you're in a certain category for which it is harder to attract girls. Number 3, it only attracts sluts and low-quality girls. And there are definitely some sluts on dating apps, just like there's some sluts in bars and clubs. And I kind of am fond of sluts sometimes. You know, they're great for getting laid. But no, you can meet high-quality girls from dating apps. For context, the girlfriend who I've been with for 6 years now, probably will be with for the rest of my life. We met on Bumble. And girls on there just want free attention. Again, girls at clubs just want free drinks. Girls everywhere. Some girls everywhere want free attention. But a good amount of girls who go on dating apps are actually interested, at least in theory, in meeting someone. So the majority of girls are not on dating apps just to get attention, contrary to popular belief. That is a relatively smaller percentage of girls, maybe 20 to 30%. All right, so and this says summary of Tinder, but this applies to every dating app. There's really 2 components, if we think about it: your profile and your texting. So when you have a good profile plus good text game, you're going to have success, right? So let's talk about the profile photos, which is by far the most important part of your profile, right? So here you can see 2 photos of me taken within 30 seconds of each other, right? With the same camera, same me, but the photo on the right, I look substantially better, right? Like, how is that possible? Like, why is it that 2 photos that were taken so closely of the same person make me look so different, right? So the first factor, and probably one of the most important factors in terms of how good your photos are for online dating, is how good you look in the photo. And this is determined by not just your SMV, which does play a role, but also lighting, angles, outfits, your mood, body language, etc. Just like I think these 2 photos are like the perfect example. If we look at the one on the left, my body language is really bad. My facial expression is awkward. The angle is not the best. It's too close in. Versus like all these things get auto-corrected in the second shot. So that's why when you're doing a photo shoot, you don't want to just take like 5 or 10 photos. You want to take hundreds of photos, so then you can just narrow it down. So yeah, so that's the first component. Second component, how natural the photo looks. So also important. So here we have 2 photos of the same guy. I think they were taken the same day because he's wearing the same outfit, but I don't think they were taken like a minute apart. But the point still applies. We can see that in the photo on the left, he looks pretty posed, like he's just posing for the camera. Versus the photo on the right looks a lot more natural. So the vibe that you want to give off when you're taking photos is like you were just doing some cool activity and one of your friends just randomly took a photo of you. And this is kind of a catch-22 because you're like, well, I'm doing a photo shoot just to get good photos for Tinder. But yeah, that's like the general vibe you're trying to replicate. And also in 2026, there's a massive hack. It's called AI photos. I would say at this point, about 50 to 70 of the guys in my mastermind group are using AI photos with great success. If you guys want a recommendation for that, the website I recommend is www.unrealphotos.io. They're the ones that, this is a guy from my mastermind who actually started that website, and I think the results are good. So if you guys want to check that out on your own time, just go to www.unrealphotos.io. But yeah, anyway, let's keep going. So here's another example. On the left, the photo looks very posed. The photo on the right looks a lot more natural. All right, then there's other things to consider. So picture quality is largely a threshold thing. So let's say you take a photo on an iPhone 14 or whatever the fuck the latest model is, iPhone 15 or whatever, and versus a DSLR camera. You're not going to get any like bonus points for using a DSLR camera because it's a threshold thing. As long as the photo is not grainy or pixelated, that's all that matters. So I don't get hung up too much on picture quality, like, oh, this is in 4K instead of 1080 or whatever. Like that stuff is relevant. The background, the vibe. So this one is an important one. So this just means like, are you sitting inside alone in your room, or are you outdoors doing some fun activity? That's all that means. And professional photo shoot. So I used to say that yes, professional photo shoots are the way to go, and they're still good if you can find a good pro photographer. But I think AI photos are cheaper, easier, and more consistent. So for the last 6 months, I've been pushing everyone to go the AI route. So yeah. All right, so let's take a look at my profile. This is a little bit of an older version. I have some new photos that I use now, but a lot of these are still the same. The only photo that's actually changed is the first one. So yeah, so here we can see photos of me. We got the first one is just a really good headshot of me. Second one is a shirtless selfie. And contrary to popular belief, shirtless selfies actually work quite well if you're in good shape. If you're like fat or like skinny fat, probably not the best idea. So yeah, so that photo really helps screen out girls who are just like looking for free dinners and all that crap. All right, let's keep going. So then we got the rest of my photos. So here's just like a really good photo of me barbecuing. I look good in it, and it looks very natural. And the same thing applies for all these photos, is I look good in them and they look natural. Except maybe the one all the way to the right. That one is a little posed, but the other ones look very natural. And then, of course, a really cute photo of my dog. Dog photos are great. It's even better if you're in the photo with the dog. But if I try to take a photo with my dog, obviously, you know, he steals all the attention. So I can't do that with him because he's just too cute. All right, so bio. So people get hung up on this, but it is maybe 5% of the picture, maybe 10%. The vast majority of it is your photos. So if you have really, really great bio but shitty photos, you're not going to get results. But you can have really good photos and a shitty bio and get results. So I think, so let's start off with like line by line. So if you're over 5'10", you should probably list your height. If you're under 5'10", don't list your height. I think you should exaggerate your height by an inch or two. And the reason for this is because girls expect it. So let's say you're actually 5'10" and you put 5'10". The girl's going to think you're 5'8", 5'9". That's just how it works. I've asked a lot of girls this, and they always automatically add an inch or two to whatever height the guy gives. So you might as well play into that, or otherwise she's going to think you're shorter than you are. You don't want to do more than 2 inches because then that's going to, you know, going to cause a what the fuck moment in real life. So I'm exactly 5'10" and a half, so I round up to 6 feet. Miami, so that's just where I live. And here we have the hook. My passion is traveling around the world and seductively whispering Russian in your ear. You can literally modify this line in just whatever language you even slightly speak. You can change it to that language, unless that's the native language of the country. So in America, you wouldn't say seductively whispering English in your ear. Or if you're in Mexico, you wouldn't say seductively whispering Spanish in your ear. Strengths, being dominant. So that's just a good way of screening. BDSM, another good way of screening, cracking inappropriate jokes, and cuddling. So I like to have the cuddling in there to kind of soften the fuckboy image. And then weaknesses, great ass and accents. Now keep in mind, I live in Miami, where basically every girl has a great ass and accent. So it seems like I'm screening, but the intention is that what this does is basically it gets the conversation started because the girl's going to message me and say, hey, I think I have your weaknesses. But that's by purpose because, again, most girls in Miami will qualify. So if you live in like fucking England or something like that where no one has ass, you probably wouldn't put that, you know. So you just modify this to fit the dominant demographic of, you know, the girls in the country and the girls that you're looking for. I actually really do like girls with big asses and accents. All right, now we're getting to the text game. So before we do that, does anyone have any questions on the photos part?
It looked like I have a question. It looks like the weaknesses where there's attributes of the women or you.
The woman, yeah. I don't.
Okay.
I'm a Russian white guy. I don't have a great ass.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But the strengths were for you, right?
The strengths are for me. The weaknesses are for the girls. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because I definitely don't want a girl who's dominant. Any other questions?
Yeah, Alex, I got a question.
Mhm.
Anyway, you're your first guy I signed up with. Anyway, long time ago. Anyway, for this advice, but I got a great, I got a great effing picture of hold on, of a candid shot of some chick, this hot chick checking me out.
Mhm.
And I just, because I fucking just swipe left on any chicks that have guys in there, like in their profile, or they're wearing sunglasses.
Mhm.
And I just want to know. I saw that picture, that example you gave. You said that was good. Do you think that could work, or it just seems like girls just, the first thing I get is, you date 20-year-olds, or how many girlfriends do you have? And that's kind of my problem. I mean,
Yeah, I would not
yeah,
use a photo with another girl. I don't have anything like that in my profile.
yeah,
It's all.
yeah. It said it was the second example you gave. The dude was checking some chick out in the background.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that I wasn't saying that. What's it called? I was just using that example of an actual photo. But yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
okay.
The photo.
Oh,
There's no benefit to that girl being in the background. It's just
that's why I asked the question. I was like,
ah, gotcha.
yeah. All
Yeah,
right, bud. All right,
I
hey,
would.
thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would definitely not use that. Any other questions before we move on?
Oh yeah, and then another one. I mean, this is maybe putting the cart before the horse, but how can you screen early for the dopes that just want attention and waste your friggin' time?
A pension? Like
Yeah,
a
the women who want just your attention. They're not really serious. They just want validation. Is there a
yeah.
screening method that you use?
Yeah, so good question. So you can't screen for that completely, but having a sexual bio and profile helps. Generally speaking, girls who just want attention are less likely to match with someone who has like a fuckboy profile than someone who doesn't. So
All
that
right.
helps to some extent, but it's not foolproof. It's maybe like 60%. You're still going to get some girls who want attention, but the litmus test is pretty simple. You're going to figure out pretty quickly when you're texting, simply based on compliance. So if the girl's like, oh, you ask for the girl's number and she's like, oh, just follow me on IG. Well, then you have your answer, right? If you ask,
Right.
if you ask the girl on a date, you say, we should, and you'll see this during the texting section, I don't, I think you should vibe with the girl a little bit over text before going for the meetup, but I don't
Right.
take forever. And, if you're like, hey, we should grab a drink sometime soon, she's like, oh, blah, 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 anything besides compliance, then you kind of have your answer. So it's really,
Right.
you're just,
Amen, brother.
yeah. Or if she's giving you like short, one word responses, right?
Yeah, and are you? Okay, keep going. Oh, where she's breadcrumbing you.
Yeah, exactly. Giving you like real short responses. And also, another good indicator is, does she ask you any questions about yourself? So girls who want attention will not ask you questions about you. They just want to talk about themselves. But a girl who's interested in you, in theory, should ask at least some questions.
Right.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I hate how they always go for what you do for a living. I just hate that. I tell them I fucking work at McDonald's.
Do you have your job listed in your bio?
Sometimes I do. When I have to, I do. When I don't, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having your job in your bio is a good way to just like avoid that whole thing, because then she knows right away.
Yeah, they still ask because they don't really read the bio. But are you going to have examples of the fuckboy profile and then the more stable profile? Are you going to like contrast the two? I'd like to see it.
No, not in this presentation, but I do in my course. If you have my course, so you should be able to see it in there. There should be there's a section called Successful Profile Compilation, and there's a bunch in there that are not fuckboy. So check out that part of the course.
All right.
And, yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to. Sorry, did anyone say something?
Yes, I did have one more question about the pictures.
Yeah.
Earlier you said perhaps it's not, you don't get anything out of like maybe having women in the pictures with you, but there's also, I suppose, a lot of thought that says that's a social validation, and so I'm just trying to figure out your viewpoint, one or the other, or if you can kind of sort of mesh
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I gave an oversimplified answer, but there's nuance here. So there are exceptions to what I said. Generally speaking, having photos of you and girls, especially if it's you and one girl, is a bad idea. But if you have a threesome profile, like you're going for threesomes, then obviously you need to show the other girl. So in that case, it's good. Also, if it's a social shot where there is a lot of people, there's other girls, there's other guys, it's like, a pool party or something like that, that's fine. What you just want to avoid is like a photo of you and just like a girl, or even you and two girls, right? So it's just like, again, the question is this just like a social event where there's just a bunch of people socializing, or is this you just posing with a girl or girls?
Thank you.
All right, text game. So people kind of overcomplicate this. I spent some time thinking about like, all right, if I have to like distill text game down to like 5 simple steps, what would they be? And here they are. The first step is the opener. Then you got to build investment / banter, vibing, whatever, it's the same thing. Then you have optimally closing, confirming, and the number 5 is optional. It doesn't always happen. Answering concerns and objections. So these are the 5 steps, and we're going to go through each one of them in more detail. Oh, okay. I forgot how the presentation was set up. Let me actually expand on these now. So, opening. Really, is just the point of the opener is just to get the conversation started. So, like and you have like generally there's 2 types of openers. There's the copy and paste openers, and then there's the custom openers. So if you're going to do custom openers, I recommend making a joke or unique observation based on her photos, not her bio. There's a whole logic behind that, but and it'll take a bit to explain, but just take my word on that. So make observations on her or comments about her photos, not her bio. Or there's copy and paste openers, and I have a bunch in my course. I have a bunch in my like YouTube videos. You can see that I've done a lot of experiments where I've like tested different openers. Just some examples are like, you seem like my type, or can I be honest? You kind of bait her, and she's like, yeah, sure. And then you can be like, you seem just like my type. Heat trouble is the one I'm most known for, although I don't think that's the best opener. There's a bunch of them. So yeah, just check out my videos. If you want to see some free ones, there's a bunch in my course too. Building investment and banter. So there's 2 things that are required to build investment: relevance and perceived value. So think about it like this. Let's say you're talking to a girl who has a bunch of tattoos, and you start talking about tattoos. That's going to be very relevant to her, and that's going to be something she's going to want to talk about. But let's say you have that same exact conversation with a girl who has no tattoos. There's no relevance there, so she's not going to want to talk about it. Second of all, the perceived value. So let's say a girl has a lot of tattoos, and a homeless guy goes up to her and starts talking about her tattoos. Because the perceived value is so low, she's probably not going to want to have that conversation. So those are the 2 things. It's just you build investment by talking about topics that are somewhat relevant to the girl. And there's some topics that will be generally relevant to like every girl. So for example, I live in Miami, where basically everyone is from somewhere else. So people's ethnicity will be like a relevant topic here, right? I'll ask the girl, where are you from? She'll be like, oh, Colombia. And I'll just talk a little bit about Colombia. And also just asking interesting questions. And you'll see some examples of that. Optimally closing just basically means closing in a smooth, efficient way. So there's 3 elements. There's basically, think about it, closing like 3 different components. First, you have the soft close, which would be like, we should get together sometime soon. So it's something that's easy to agree to. Here's a good way to think about it. Let's say that someone was trying to get you to do something that you're like, not sure if you want to do. Like, let's say someone wants to get you to go fishing, and you're like, I don't know if I really want to go fishing. What would you be more likely to agree to? To someone say, hey, we should go fishing sometime in the future, or hey, we should go fishing tomorrow at 5 p.m. Right? So basically what you're doing with the first step is getting buy-in. The second step is figuring out the girl's schedule. So really, the way I do that is I just say, what's your schedule like? And then there's the hard close. So now the girl has agreed to the general idea of meeting up with you. She told you what day she's free. So then you would say, cool, let's do Tuesday, say 8 p.m. That's the hard close. Confirming is just literally, you have to confirm. You can do it the night before, the day of the date, but I'll just say something like, "Hey, still good for tonight," and then there could be a whole bunch of concerns and objections the girl will have, and you'll see some examples of those. All right, nerdy Polish blonde. So this is a girl I hooked up with when I was in Warsaw. So my opener was literally, "Do you speak English?" in Polish. Openers can be stupid simple. The goal of the opener is just to get the girl to respond, like I said. So then, follow-up question, are you in Warsaw? And the reason I'm doing this is because when I was in Poland, I was getting an insane amount of matches. And there's also girls who live in like small villages in Poland who put their profile in Warsaw. So I want to just screen those out. So she says, yes, she does. She asked me about my weekend. I say, it's good. Finish a killer workout, looking nice and fit for our date. So you can see pretty early on, I'm already hinting at the date, right? And that's a good way to feel out the vibe. And she gives me a very positive answer. And when is it? So this means I can skip more vibing and I can literally just start to make plans, right? So again, that's why I like to send these filler texts out there relatively early on. And this one you can just steal. When a girl asks you, how you doing? How's your day? How's your weekend? All that crap. You can say, it's good. Just finished a big workout, looking nice and fit for our date. And then that gives you, and then her response will tell you kind of where you're at. So I say, depends. Do you like wine? I do like drinking it. Wait, you can't see. Hang on. This is not showing me the bottom text. Can you guys see the text at the very bottom after I do like drinking it?
No, it's all black. It's blacked out, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it says something like, good, we should split a bottle sometime soon, or something like that. And then, so here she's asking me what's called the buying question. So where are you then? So that's very good when a girl asks you questions like, do you live alone? Where do you live? What time are you free? Like, these are great questions when a girl asks you stuff like that. I'll give her my Polish address when I was there. I can get there in half an hour. Will you be there then? So this is a girl who's like clearly very DTF, right? And so what I want to do in those situations is make the meetup happen as soon as possible and as easy as possible. Because if I try to banter and make things more difficult, she's just gonna meet up with another guy who makes things easier for her. So yeah, I give her my number because I think it's a good idea to switch things over to text or WhatsApp. She does not have WhatsApp, which is weird. I say, you can text me, and then she just messages me on here. I'm right next to the building. You're here. We meet up. We hook up. Right. Super easy. All right. Now let's take a look at a case that's a bit more difficult. So we got this lovely Colombian lady right here. I miss her. Valentina was her name. All right. So since I can tell she's Latina, this is in Miami. I open her with Hola linda, which means hey cutie in Spanish. That's an opener you can steal for any Latina. I don't know why, but like Spanish girls just love those two words, Hola linda. They just work like surprisingly well. I don't really know why, because it's something super simple. But so she responds, hey. So relatively low investment. So I say, how's your Sunday fun day going? Not that fun, just working a lot. How about yours? So here I start building on what she said. Damn, sounds like you could use a little stress release, right? She says, yeah, that could help a lot. So again, you can see I'm sending these feeler texts relatively early on, right? But this is not the soft close. This is like the prelude to the soft close. It's a feeler text. So I say, so here I make a joke. I say, I'll get the wine and massage oil ready. So you can see how like my texting is also like, it's somewhat sexual, but it's not like over the top. I'm not saying like, cool, I'll get the lube and condoms ready. It's more flirty and playful rather than just full on aggressively sexual. So again, she gives me a pretty low investment response, I'll bet. So I decide to switch her to a WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp, of course, but she doesn't even give it to me, which is weird. So I say number, she gives me her phone number. All right. So then for some reason I messaged her on iMessage though. I think I couldn't find her on WhatsApp. So I just found her on iMessage. So I sent her my name. She just says, hi. So at this point I have relatively low level of investment. She hasn't asked any buying questions. So that to me means I need to build a little bit more of a vibe before I go for the soft close. So again, I asked her, how's your Friday going? It's good, not so much to do. How about yours? So I sent her a cute photo of my dog, and I say, pretty good, just hanging out with this guy. And photos are great. Like you don't overdo them. And I don't recommend sending like unsolicited photos of yourself. But like a photo like this, there's just no way it can hurt me. You get to see my tattoo, you get to see my dog. It looks like I'm doing something, right? So photos like this are great. Oh, he's very cute. So then again, I send another feeler text. Thanks. He says he's excited to meet you. Haha, I bet he said that. So here I make a joke. I say, yeah, I hope you like it rough. She's like, then I'm excited to meet him too. So here I go for the soft close. Good. Do you like wine? Well, to be honest, I've tasted wine like once or twice, but I've never been or have interest in drinking it or have interest on drink it. English isn't the best. So here I make like kind of like a joke-ish statement. Tequila kind of girl. I'd say it's a lie, but it's true. But I don't like alcohol at all. Just when I'm having get together with friends or family. How about you? So I say I like tequila and whiskey mainly, but we can make you a nice Shirley Temple. So again, I'm making like a joke. I'm kind of teasing her. And teasing is like one of the best tools you can use. I think teasing girls is great. She says we, so she doesn't really get the joke. Say me and the husky. She says that sounds nice then. So again, she's very low investment. So here I go for the, so this is the soft close, the actual soft close. We should get together sometime soon. She says yes. Then exactly the text I mentioned earlier. What's your schedule like? She says whenever, right? I say, okay, how about tomorrow night? Yeah, that sounds good. So tomorrow, what time and where? Now, my first plan is to always invite the girls straight to my place. And then if they decline, then I offer to meet in public. So I say, my romantic balcony, say 10:30. She's like, well, we do not know each other, so I prefer a public place. So I say, stranger danger, says, of course. So I say, already, let's meet at a red bar. That's just a popular bar in Miami that most people who live here know. Okay, so here she finally starts asking me questions, which is a good sign, right? That means that there's some interest. If a girl doesn't ask you any questions about you, there's a very high chance she's going to flake. You mean, where do I live now, where I was born? She says, born. I say, Russia. We moved here when I was 7. And since then, you've been in Miami. Been here for 3 years. I was in LA before that. So this is just basic get to know you banter to build more comfort. Oh, nice. So then, so this is the next day. When I wake up, I text her, hola, linda. She says, hey. I say, hey, still good for tonight? So that's the confirmation text. She says, yes, and you. I say, yeah, let's meet at Red Bar. Not too late, though, because of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here we make plans to meet up. Here's my pre-date confirmation text. So I do a lot of confirming. Gonna hop in the shower, text her on the way. So that's a good one you can steal. You can send that like half an hour before the date. On my way and almost there, just got out, gonna head over here. So we did a public date. I pulled her after an hour and we hooked up. Now, her response here was weird. I say, that was fire. And she just says, good to know. I'm like, love the enthusiasm. She's like, haha, I don't know what to say. I had fun too. That works. And then she said, I had fun too, blah, blah. Anyway, so example number 3. Let's go through, let's see what time it is. 6:35. Let's go through 1 or 2 more examples. Does anyone have any questions so far on what we've seen? All right, cool.
I do have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
Wait, so can you quickly give me a guide? Because I overthink when it comes to texting. You know, it's just how I am right now.
Yeah.
Any tips for working with that? You know, trying to come up with things to say, like, say, what if it's just a picture with a girl and you can't really come up with something observational about her to say to get that started, or in the middle of the conversation when you're trying to vibe. I know you said keep it relevant to her, and keep it relevant. But yes, a lot of times I get in my head so much where it's not so clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very common what you were describing. So the first thing I would say is you will, as you have more and more success with how many girls have you met up with from dating apps specifically?
Not many. Most of them has been in person, but to give you a number, I'd say about 4.
Okay, yeah. So when that number becomes 50 or 100, you'll feel a lot more confident in your text. So the first part is just experience. It used to take me like a few minutes to come up with text. Now it's basically instant, just because of the massive amount of volume that I've had. The second of all is you could utilize my app FireText. So I have an AI app that literally tells you what to say. So you just upload the conversation, and it'll give you the next line. So you can use that.
Yeah.
You get like a 3-day free trial with it, so you can check that out as well.
Well, I do. Well, I ain't trying to like say nah, but I already do be using ChatGPT to like be like, yo, what do I come up to say with this? And it gives me a list. But I don't want to use that as a crutch. Like I want my brain to be able to fire and be quick with it. You know, like I want, boom, she says something, I'm right there with it. You know.
Yeah, that's gonna happen as you get a lot more experience. Like keep in mind your experience level is like pretty low at this point because you've had 4 days from dating apps, right? So that's gonna come with time. But the correct way to utilize, first of all, I would say use my app. It's a lot better than ChatGPT. But that aside, like let's say you still stick with ChatGPT or whatever, it doesn't matter. Is you first try to come up with the text yourself, and then you're like, okay, this is what I'm thinking about saying. Then you plug it into FireText or ChatGPT, and then you compare it to the suggestion it gives you. So that's how you go about learning.
And you say your thing is called FireText what? FireText.com?
Yeah, www.firetext.com. Yeah, you can download there and learn more about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
For sure. All right, so I remember this girl. All right, so we got this lovely lady, basically the epitome of my type, big tits, colorful hair. Love it. All right, so hear me using the cliche "Hey, trouble opener." Hiya. I say, I like your style. Thanks. I like your dog. Dogs are amazing. How are you doing today? So notice there's a big difference between this one and this one, right? In terms of investment, this girl's investing a lot more, right? So that's good. Investment is like really one of the best things that will determine whether you get the date or not. The point of the previous example is to show you that you can get dates with girls who are low investment as well, but it's less likely to happen than when a girl is like higher investment. So I say, yeah, he's the best. Is that yours in the pic too? Because she had a dog. So start off pretty chill. Yeah, he's a mini, blah, blah, blah. So again, here I send my feeler text. You can't see it, but it says, nice, we can do a double date. So again, I'm sending these feeler texts pretty early on, like basically suggesting, hinting at the idea of the date. She says, well, sounds fun. So here I make another statement. Hopefully they get along as good as we will. A little corny, but it works. I'm sure they will. What do you like to do for fun in Miami? And then she double texts me like 20 minutes later, which is interesting. It's at 7 a.m., so I'm passed out asleep. And she's like, hoping you don't mind a bit of boldness, wondering if I could get your number. So this is a very good sign. When a girl is the one that's taking the lead, like asking for your number or asking you like buying questions, that's like a very good sign. So here I answer her question, and then I reward her. I say I like boldness with a winky face, and I give her my number. And then she doesn't text me for 2 days. So I use a takeaway. I say, don't be shy. And you're going to learn a lot more about takeaways in this example. This is going to be a really interesting one. And then she texts me, hey, cutie. So I say, the cute chick with the dog. Lol, yep, colorful hair and dog. I say, don't get me too excited now. But she doesn't respond. So I wait a few days. I send her the infamous Ryan Gosling meme. And you can find these for any day of the week. Just Google Ryan Gosling, hey girl, happy, and then whatever date you're searching for. Friday, Tuesday, doesn't matter. They exist. I say, she doesn't respond to that. So I wait another 3 days. I say, are you always this talkative? So that's an example of a takeaway. That's what you do when a girl's not being responsive or not being compliant. And there's a bunch of takeaways that you guys are going to learn about as we go through this report. Sorry, hectic day, so I disconnected a bit from Tinder and all that jazz. Could I ask you a unique and non-stereotypical question? What are you looking for? So here, in hindsight, I make a little bit of a mistake. I go a little too sexual for this girl. But again, I had no way of knowing at the time. So you just got to take social risks. I say very unique to meet a cool girl, have chemistry with, maybe break my multiple oral orgasms record. So that's a good thing to say when a girl's like somewhat DTF, relatively DTF. But it works because I have a pretty sexual profile. So if you have a totally platonic profile, I wouldn't just use this line out of the blue. You would just say the first part. You'd say, to meet a cool girl, I have chemistry with. Like, keep it simple. Ooh, now you're the one getting me excited. I'm pretty open-minded with regards to what I'm looking for, but do want to meet and get to know someone first, wondering if that's a deal breaker. So again, I say not all. I like to build some chemistry as well. It also makes the sex way better. So I go a little too sexual here. And she doesn't respond. So I wait probably 3-4 days, and I use a takeaway. We're hoping for a different answer, and no response. So then I wait 2 weeks, and then I re-engage her with the skeleton meme. This is a classic. If you guys want to steal this, go on my Instagram, Real Playing with Fire, or on my X account, and I posted it at some point. All right. So this is during the quarantine. So she says, listen to me, if we break quarantine, we could all die. Aren't you a nurse? I say, well, GIF was not serious, by the way. Yeah, I worked with ER, typically, blah, blah, blah. So I used that same text you saw me use with the previous girl. Sounds like you used some stress relief. No response. I say, am I wrong? No response. So I wait a week, and I use a harsher takeaway. And this one works really well. This is like a great way to get a girl to respond. But you only use it when the girl has been repeatedly not responsive. You don't want to use this text like at the first sign of non-compliance because it's going to be too harsh. I say, honestly, do not take you for the flaky type. And girls are very motivated to respond to this because no girl wants to be the quote-unquote flaky type, right? So she's going to want to prove to you that she's not the flaky type. I'm really not, but I'm not just looking for a hookup. So here we have some basic frame control. So I say, when exactly did I say I was looking for just a hookup? She says, true, never directly. I guess I assume based on flirty text and mentioning sex, which I'm not against, but Tinder does have a reputation. So that's an example of me dealing with a objection, right? I say, yeah, I do like some flirty texts, but no, I'm over one night stands. Plus, always found them a bit unfulfilling. Plus, sex gets even better after you build some chemistry. This is a text you can steal for situations like this. It works quite well. It's known as a truism. It's a statement that basically everyone is going to agree with. Like, how do you disagree with that statement, right? She says, well, I have to agree with that. A little attention makes things more interesting, in my opinion. And I'll apologize for assuming, too. Many people are looking for that. So I say, attention can be very rewarding. It's cool. I'm glad we're on the same page. And so here, like, notice how it went from the conversation being, like, fucking dead in the water, right? Totally dead in the water to now the conversation is back on track. Why did that happen? It's because I dealt with her objection, really, and that can make a huge difference. That can mean the difference between you being ghosted on and you having a date, right? Just dealing with potential objections that come up. But I had to use takeaways in order to get the objection out of her. So she says, what have you been up to during this quarantine? I say, mainly been getting work done. Perhaps you could be my distraction. So again, another feeler text. I use these a lot, and they're very useful. So looking for someone to prevent you from getting work done. Perhaps if you play your cards right, I say maybe a cute one with colorful hair. So I'm being flirty here. Do you like wine? So that's a setup for the soft close. Well, I definitely like messing around with fun haircuts. To be honest, I don't drink. Maybe a fun mocktail for me. So I say, all right, we can share Shirley Temple on my romantic balcony. So that's, if you're not familiar, for anyone who's not been to a bar mitzvah when they were younger, it's like a non-alcoholic drink, basically. Not scared away. I like that. Sounds like a nice evening. By the way, I've got nothing against other drinking. Just wanted to mention that. LOL. It takes a lot more than that to scare me away. So notice how the dynamic is just always flirty. And then, so we can share a Shirley Temple on my romantic balcony was the soft close. Then the what's her schedule like is me figuring out her schedule. Hurt my wrist at work, so I'm off for a bit. Yes, it's a good thing, blah, blah. Besides that, I've got a couple of things, blah, blah, whatever. But I'm free after Tuesday. How about you? I say, so here I make a joke. Damn, I'll be sure to kiss it and make it better. So I still keep things flirty. Sam, I have a long call tomorrow, but how's Tuesday or Wednesday night? So here's me getting into the hard close. Wednesday's probably better. Any parks open near you? Would you be opposed to meeting one first? So yeah, so she wants to meet in public, which again was similar to the previous girl. I say, right, Wednesday night it is. And yes, there's two, stranger danger. I know, should I be worried or should you? Neither of us. I have a good feeling about this. And then here I say we can take my dog for a walk. She says, oh, I'd love to meet your pup. I love dogs. This is the husky. So I send her the same exact photo. I just usually mass blast this out for situations where it's appropriate. She says, oh, what a cutie, girl or boy. And you've given me an opening task about your tattoos. I said, we can't really see my bottom text, but I'm sure it was something that wasn't too important. So she says, working on finishing design. I say, maybe our dragons will become best friends. Oh, I think she says something about that she's planning on doing a dragon. I don't know. I say maybe. She says maybe low. I say I guess we'll find out soon. So again, another like kind of like feeler text. Just wondering, where do you stay by? So I give her my address here. She says, didn't have to be your exact address, Lol. I guess you trust me, but I actually happen to blah, blah, blah. I say, how bad can someone be with a cute dog be? Cool, where are you now? Blah, blah, blah. Not too far. I think our love will survive. And then because we have the date set for Wednesday, so usually I wait 48 hours before double texting. The only exception to that rule is when it's something that's time sensitive. And because our date was set for Wednesday, I re-engage. I send her that double text. What time are you free tonight? Hey, good afternoon. On the way back now. Should be free around 9. Does that work for you? I say, yeah, perfect. Where should I meet you? So I say, let's meet outside my place. We can go for a walk. Sounds good. Is there street parking? Yeah, there should be plenty. Awesome. Heading now. Good to see you soon. Just park coming. So me and her went for maybe a 20-minute walk, and then I pulled her upstairs and we hooked up. I say, make it home okay? Yeah, nice driving, no traffic. Good. That was fine. All right. I think we covered a good amount of shit. I just have these like lay reports for days, but you guys can go on my website, playingfire.com, and click the love reports section, and you'll see like a fucking million of them. I have like 40, 50 lay reports on there that you can just go through, and you can learn a lot that way. And then also there's a bunch of my course, but there's really a bunch of them that are out there for free. So those are just like 3 simple ones that I just took. But yeah, so I think that gives you guys a pretty good idea on text game. So let's get into Q&A. Yeah, let's just go through any questions you guys might have.
I got one question about the sites themselves. Is there one that's better for a hookup / maybe like a meaningful relationship, maybe something else? I hear different stories about Hitch, about Bumble, about Tinder. Any preferences? Any, definitions on them standard?
Yeah, good question. So I recommend being on all 3 of the major apps, Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Generally speaking, Tinder is more hookup oriented, but my 2 girlfriends ago, my ex Maria, I met her on Tinder and started off as a hookup, but we wound up dating. So you can meet relationship girls on Tinder. I've also had many hookups off Bumble and Hinge. So yeah, I recommend being on all of them because you can meet every type of girl and every type of app. But generally speaking, Tinder and Field are going to be more hookup oriented, versus Bumble and Hinge will be a little bit more dating oriented. But again, don't get hung up on that. Like, guys sometimes think they have to run a different type of text game, but I customize my text game based on the girl, not based on the app.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else?
I do.
Yeah.
I noticed when you was texting some of these girls, you when they didn't respond, you would also follow up.
Yeah.
I've had it ingrained in me that if a bitch don't text you, don't text her back. So how did you figure out, hey, you can text the chick out, you can text the chick back, and when do you know when is it cool to test the waters to text her back versus when it's not?
So I think sending a text, it takes like 10 seconds. So I think you should always at least double text at the very least. But you want to wait 48 hours, and the double text matters. So let's say you say, hey, we should get together this weekend. You don't have a response. And then 48 hours later, you say, hey, how's your week going? Right? That kind of seems like you're chasing. But if you say something like, if you're too nervous, I understand, then you're not chasing, right? So yeah, but you always want to follow up. I learned this from doing sales. I had, if I had given up on every client who stopped responding to me at one point, the number of sales I have would be cut by like 4x. Most clients you have to follow up with. So I just applied that same concept to dating. I did an analysis of like my lay reports, and I noticed that about in 2/3 of them, I had to at least double text once, if not several times. So if I did not double text at all, I would miss out on 2/3 of my lays, 2/3 of my relationships. I don't recall if I had to ever double text with my current girlfriend, But with the one before that, I definitely had to double text a few times. And the Maria girl I mentioned, I had to double text multiple times with her too. So yeah, you always want to follow up. Again, it takes like 10 seconds to send a text, so there's really you don't lose anything by following up.
Okay. And another thing about the Tinder um, dating app. I'm a black guy, so I live in Nashville, which is predominantly white. It is mixed, but it's predominantly white. On Tinder, I don't have a lot of success. My pictures are quality, but as far as like getting matches, I've come to the conclusion maybe that's one of the reasons. I don't mean to say that in like a negative way. I'm just saying I understand like everybody prefers their own in most cases. So I'm just wondering, like, is that a reason why I could be struggling?
No, I mean I can see why you think that way, and that's a very common thing people say. Usually, mostly Indian and Asian guys say that, but no. So here's what I've learned. The vast majority of guys who say they have good photos don't actually have good photos. They may be professional photos, but it doesn't make them good. So I guarantee you, if I was to analyze your profile, I can find multiple things that is wrong with it. Here's how you know you have a good profile. You're getting good results. If you're not getting good results, then by default, you do not have a good profile. So the issue is not your skin color. There's some white girls that will prefer to date white guys, but the majority of people in 2026 will date across races if they find the guy attractive enough. So the issue is in the photos, not in your race.
Okay.
Yep. If we have time with that, maybe we could even do like a quick analysis of your photos if you want.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Shoot.
All right, cool. Let's see if anyone else has questions, and if we have some time, we can do that real quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone else?
Yeah, what's up, Alex?
Hey.
Did you end up smashing that color hair chick?
Yeah.
That's great. Was it just a one-time thing, or?
Yeah, the funny thing is, she actually was the one that wanted a one-night stand. It was really weird because she kept talking about how she doesn't want a one-night stand. But I tried to meet up with her again, and she got together with her ex or something like that. So that's the ironic thing. She actually used me, but I'm not complaining.
Typical. Wow. And I got banned on Hinge a while back. Any tips on? And I tried to remake a new profile using different information, everything, but like the AI caught me, my pictures or something. Any tips on?
Did you use a new phone and a new phone number?
Use a new phone and a new phone number.
Yeah. So so Hinge is like the hardest app to get back on, I've learned. So I don't want to give you false hope, but I'll put it this way: if you use the same phone and the same phone number, or even one of those, your chance of getting back on Hinge is about 0. But if you use a new phone and a new phone number, you got a pretty solid chance of being able to get back on.
Do you know if they look at the IP address, if they match it to?
I'm not sure about that, but to be on the safe side, I would just turn off your Wi-Fi and just use your 4G or whatever.
Smart.
When you create that. But yeah, it's even better if you use a new set of photos. But that's easier said than done. But yeah, if you go new photos, new phone number, you got about 70-80% chance of being able to successfully get back on.
And what about these guys who offer a service of like, oh, I'll get you unblocked?
I think most of that stuff is a scam. I've never really heard stories about that stuff working. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know, there might be some that are legit, but from what I know, most of that stuff is a scam.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, unless the person works at Hinge, I just don't know what they could do, that you can't do yourself. Yep. All right. Any other questions?
I got a personal question for you specifically.
Yeah,
Еще понимаешь русский?
Да, понимаю.
So, I'm just wondering, do you say that you're Slavic, that you're Russian, and how do people perceive it? Obviously, I'm with you on that one, right? So, do you see it sometimes as a negative, or not that I'm afraid of my nationality, but sometimes, people look at me weird. So I don't know if it's a good thing to mention right off the bat.
Yeah, Putin kind of fucked our people over with this stupid Ukraine shit, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's still generally fine. I think I don't know. Maybe if I was in Ukraine, I probably wouldn't say that. If I was like,
Well, yeah,
if I
obviously.
was there. But in America and other countries like that are, far from Russia, I think it's totally fine. I think most people get the difference between like the Russian government and just a person who happens to be from Russia.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. I used to when I was younger. I used to like not display my. I used to kind of think that it was a negative, due to like all the like the Cold War shit, and there was like a lot of Russian jokes that would go around in my high school because I was the only person that was Russian. But yeah, as I got older, I realized it's a strength, not a weakness, to speak a different language. All right, anyone else? Anyone else at all? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yeah, another question for you, Alex. Have you, are you still single? Are you still
No, I have a girlfriend. I've been with my girlfriend Natty for a long time.
cool? Do you do any of Brian's methods? What he teaches here with building a social circle and throwing events?
I do not. I just actually connected with Brian very recently, but what he's doing with Instagram seems very interesting. I'm going to have him on my podcast to talk about that. But no, I don't. We have threesomes occasionally, but I use like apps like Field and Tinder for that. I don't really. It doesn't mean it's bad or anything, or that I disagree with it. It's just like it's not necessary for me.
Yeah, your plate is full.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and also I'm kind of an introvert in general. So, generally speaking, like, people kind of get surprised by that since I'm fairly outgoing. But yeah, I don't even particularly enjoy large social functions. I go to them when I have to. So, yeah, it's different strategies for different people and different personality types.
Awesome, man. Bravo.
Yeah, for sure.
So Alex, you said you lived in LA and then you moved to Miami. How do you differentiate or contrast the dating environments?
They're very similar. There's a lot of overlap. I think your girls in Miami are hotter, I would say. But there's a lot of Latinas in LA, but there's even more Latinas in Miami. But in terms of like culture and stuff, I think it's largely the same. I think LA is a little bit flakier than Miami, but Miami can also be plenty flaky. But they're relatively similar in terms of their culture.
Yeah, it's flaky everywhere. It's a numbers game.
Yeah, I mean, like certain places are definitely like a lot more flaky than others. I've done like analysis on this shit, so I've noticed that when I was in Eastern Europe, my flake rate was like less than 10%, versus in Miami it's probably like 50%, and then in LA it's probably like 65%. So in New Jersey it's probably like 40%. So there's definitely some differentiation based on where you are, especially if you're traveling internationally.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Really cool. Well, appreciate your time today. You did a good job.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I'm gonna go log in.
Cool. All right. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you notice that you have to handle like nines and tens in a text differently versus like a 6 or a 7? Is there like
No.
a common pattern, you notice between those two different like grades of women, so to speak?
Yeah, that's like a very common question, but no, my text game is the same. I think that actually trying to change your text game is a bad strategy, because guys, when they talk to nines and tens, they take less risks, and when you take less risk, you get less benefits. So I keep the same strategy for regardless of the girl's hotness. Nines and tens are more rare, like just because there's a lot less of them that exist. Like most human beings, guys, girls, whatever, are going to be 4 to 6. Like that's just how how
Yeah.
it is.
Mhm.
Sevens and eights, there's a good amount of them, but nines and tens, like they're pretty rare, just in general. Like they're rare in dating in regular life, and they're pretty rare on dating apps, especially rare on dating apps. But they do exist.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any different approaches for, women with like different dispositions like that, because, they know how hot they are.
Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, you have like a bunch of sixes who think they're tens, also as well.
That's fucking for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I say that I keep the same strategy. I'm more calibrated based on the girl's personality rather than her level of hotness.
Yeah, makes total sense. Was just curious what your experience was with that. All right.
No, yeah, totally fair question. Anything else? All right, cool.
Got,
Go ahead.
got a Florida question for you. Was thinking of moving there. What would you think of like north of Fort Lauderdale? I think it's called Deerfield or one of these smaller communities.
Like Boca
Is that-
Raton?
Yeah, or even farther than that. Is that like too far for the Miami crowd, the women there?
Yeah, but there's like I think Delray Beach would be my recommendation if you want to go north of Fort Lauderdale. And then, yeah, if you live in Delray Beach or whatever, Deerfield, you're not going to meet up with that many girls from Miami. But there's plenty of hot girls that live in Delray Beach. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as Miami, but it's still going to be really, really good. It's still going to be better than most places in the country. So, yeah, I would if you're looking at north of Fort Lauderdale, I would go Delray Beach. Fort Lauderdale is also great. I think Fort Lauderdale might be even potentially better than Miami. But Delray Beach would be my recommendation.
Awesome. Cool.
Any other questions?
This might seem a little odd, but is there any girls you would say to stay away from? Like once that you get into the texting, whatever, you get to talking, like a red flag, like a very big red flag in your experience?
Girls who seem bipolar, I generally try to avoid, but I've made many exceptions for the ones that are hot. But yeah, I would say girls that seem bipolar are a little bit dicey. But no, it's probably the only thing. I mean, if the girl has like proven herself to be flaky, like she flaked on me like 3 times in a row, I'm probably not going to give her a 4th chance, because at that point, that's a pattern.
So you do give them chances, essentially.
Well, I'll give a girl who flaked once or twice a chance, yeah. But keep it like you kind of saw with the text examples. I set up dates either at my place or somewhere that's walking distance from my place. I don't leave my apartment when it's a public date unless the girl tells me she's literally on her way. So I don't waste any time. So it's not like for me, like let's say a girl flakes. Well, it doesn't really affect me because I was already home. So I'm just going to do something else,
Gotcha.
Yep. All right, any other questions? All right, so I guess we do have some time to look at Lashar's profile. Yeah, let's take a quick look at your profile. So if you want to like share,
I bet I got you. All right. I said Tinder as the example, but turns out I deleted Tinder a long time ago. But this is Hinge, and I've gotten some messages here on Hinge. But
okay, yeah, let's take a look at your photos.
Let's see what we got here. All right, there we go.
Okay, so your first photo, just leave it up. Yeah, so your first photo is cropped really poorly. So, and second of all, we can barely see you because it's dark. So this is not a good first photo. And then on top of that, you look like you're startled in this photo, like you saw a ghost or something. So facial expression is not that good. The photo itself is not that good, and the cropping is pretty poor.
Okay.
So a photo like that is not a good, especially not a good first photo.
Okay.
Lighting's a little rough, yeah.
Yeah. Like it looks like you're like in like some like shady alley or something. Like it doesn't look like the background is like somewhere nice.
The show.
Let's look at the next one. All right, so second photo, we cannot see your face at all. Like it's a completely useless photo. We can't see your face at all. And that's your second photo.
Okay.
So, yeah, that one doesn't work.
This one.
Okay, so this one is black and white. Black, according to the infamous OkCupid study, they found black and white photos to be less effective than colored photos. Also, it's pretty posed. You're just sitting there, like not really doing anything, looking at directly at the camera. And that combined with the fact that it's black and white.
Oh, okay. This one.
So again, we really can't see you. Like you're turned away and it's very zoomed out. The concept is cool. You're doing something here, but we can barely see you.
Okay. Same thing.
We can't see your face at all here.
And the last one.
Yeah, it's like a little creepy.
Okay.
So yeah, so that kind of is your answer. So like yeah, your photos are, I would say your profile photos, if I had to rate them, are like a 4 out of 10.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so definitely massive room for improvement. So to answer your initial question, once you get much better photos, you'll notice that suddenly you match with a lot more of these Nashville white girls.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't necessarily have a photographer. Like when you was capturing your photos, did you have somebody, well, professional taking those?
Some of them not. So it depends on the photo. There's a few that are professional, and there's a bunch that are not. But I would just go with the AI option. Like I said, www.unrealphotos.io. I think it's a much better option. It just didn't exist when I was creating my profile, but in 2020.
www. Hold on, let me write that down real quick. www.io.
No, Unreal Photos. Yep, you have it.
This right here?
Yeah.
All right. And what was your texting one?
Oh, my app Firetext. So just go to www.firetext.com.
www.fire. That's it?
There's an S after text.
Okay.
What was that?
All right.
Say it again.
www.unrealphotos.io.
I accidentally deleted the first one. What's it is? Unreal Photos.
.io.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. And this is actually a good segue for me to mention. So if you guys want to get personalized feedback from me, have me, roast your photos or give you feedback or look at your texting or anything like that, I have a mastermind group that I run. And actually, funny enough, I know this sounds like it's a weird coincidence, but we are going to be raising the pricing on that pretty soon. So now's a good time to get in on it. Actually, we're supposed to raise the price today, but I'll hold off on that for like 24 or 48 hours. So I'll send you guys a link that you guys can use. And you also, so the way it works is I have a course. It's not that expensive. It's $295. And then with that, you get access to the mastermind group. You get your first month free. After that, it's $49 a month. But yeah, I think the course covers like basically every possible thing you can imagine when it comes to dating apps. So let me just do a very quick show you guys what I'm talking about. All right.
While you getting that, can I ask one quick question about your Unreal Photos?
Yeah.
Do you suggest using them sparingly, like use a photo that was created with AI here and there, or could I use them for all of them?
I would use them for all of them. Yeah, I don't recommend combining real photos with AI photos. I would go entirely AI.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you can see that this was supposed to happen today, but again, I'll hold off on that for a day or so. But yeah, so this is basically, why can't I scroll down? Oh, this is weird. 1 second, let me see why this is happening. Oh, I think my shit froze. There we go. Yeah, so this is basically, you can see that this is you see 1 million testimonials here. You can see the results that some of the guys are getting. You can also, it has a section on relationships, has 1 million fucking bonuses. So there's literally a pussy eating demonstration, and as well as basically everything else. So it's I don't really believe in having multiple products or whatever. So this is just put everything I know into one thing. So definitely check that out. And yeah, it gets you access to my mastermind group. You can see some of the success stories there, and see a whole bunch of other testimonials. Sometimes people wind up getting married and meeting girlfriends using the materials. Yeah, you can just go through these. There's a lot of real good shit here. And I will drop the link for that right now in the chat. So let me do that. Ooh.
Yeah, those live demos are crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad you like them. Never use, how do I enter the chat here? Are you able to do a chat with Google Meet, or it's not something that's available? Oh, there it is. I see it. All right. Oh, 1 second. There we go. So yeah, just click on that. That's special link for Brian. So I know where everyone comes from. But yeah, does anyone have any questions about the mastermind or the course at all? Cool. Does anyone have any last questions in general? All right, sweet. But yeah, like I said, so the timing on this is pretty good that we did this today, because yeah, I was supposed to raise the price of the mastermind today, but I'll hold off on that for a day or two. But yeah, don't dilly daddle too long. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me. I'll drop my personal email, well, semi-personal, Playing with Fire channel, so you guys can reach out to me if you have any questions. If you want to watch more of my content, just go to my YouTube channel. Yep, here it is. Yeah, I'm basically on every social media platform, but the one I'm most active on is YouTube. Cool. All right, Brian.
Yeah, final questions on dating apps, text game, photos, going once, going twice.
So Unreal Photos.io for all your pictures on all the dating apps. Yeah.
Yep, it's not my website. Just to be clear, it's someone who I know who runs that. But yeah, I think he does a really good job. If you go,
how many pictures per profile should you put in? It should be like 2 or should be 6?
Minimum 4. I just think 4 to 5 is good.
I got in late on your presentation. What do you recommend for like the bio?
Brian, there will be a recording of this, right?
Yeah, we can get the recording out.
Yeah, so I covered that in the recording, and also you can just, if you want to, if you're like, you don't want to wait, just go to my YouTube channel, type in like Tinder bio or something like that, and I have many videos on this. And also you can go to my website, playingfire.com. Under tips and guides, there's a search function. You can just search for bio, and I have, like, if you prefer written format, I have a bunch of examples there too.
Cool, man. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Brian. So yeah, I guess that's it, right?
All right, boys. Yep. Alex, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you. So guys, yeah, make sure to, if you're not, following him on Instagram and on YouTube and stuff, do that. And I think he dropped a link for his products on his website and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think we're good to go. So if nothing else, you guys have a good rest of your week. And if you guys haven't spoken with me in a while, by the way, don't forget to book a call with me or just send me a message in the Discord. But yeah, I'll see you guys inside the community, and we'll catch you next week.
Cool. Yeah, good talking to you guys. Hope you guys got some value out of this. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one, everyone.
All right, boys. Later.
Take it easy.